all those years ago. And we are live.
We are live.
We are live. So I was just telling Brian a story that I will not tell on the stream because it's not my story to tell, really.
Right.
But
We're talking about business mergers and that type of thing.
mergers and acquisitions and, how the garbage industry works in Jersey.
Yeah.
Like I said, yes, I used to work for a garbage company in New Jersey. It was nothing like that, just a small family business. But that's not what we're here to talk about. One of my favorite jokes, because it's true.
Right.
Not the way you're thinking it's true. It really was just a small family business. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to find the right button. Where's the button? There's the button. Because it's once again time for everyone's favorite internet radio show.
Insert title here.
The show that changes names so frequently, we put a placeholder in. And I'm here. Brian's here. And,
Hey.
Brian's games is in the background again, rather than, sometimes it's a slideshow, sometimes it's a video presentation, sometimes it's a little game.
Right. Forge of Empires. Where the ad doesn't look at all like the actual game.
I started, for a while I was playing one of those games where you clear out blocks by color or something like that, and you get bombs or things that clear, and I got bored of that at a point, and so I started playing one of those little balls that hits the bricks types of games, and now I've reached the point of that game where it gets hard to clear a level without spending money, and I keep my free games free, so which means that I play a game until it gets too hard, and then I get bored, and then I find another game. But that's okay. So
I've been playing this game for about a year and a half, a little bit more.
Now, Brian,
and I'm
have you
about ready to decide whether I'm going to continue or not?
Now, Brian, have you figured out who this week's sponsor
bit more.
is? Now, Brian, have you?
Well,
I
posted the sponsor for getting in.
Oh, plant-based Dove body wash.
Yeah, whatever that shit is, right?
Okay.
But we really want it to be. Oh, how do we? Oh! I can drop out of this game. Pull up YouTube. I think I have it on my YouTube channel history. What was the other ad that I posted? I forget.
Well, you had the one with the song sung by animals, and then you had the one about the watermelon and the wrecking ball and the pineapples.
Yeah, that's the one we're going for.
Yes, that is the better one. Brian is now looking for commercials to bring to the show that we are not getting paid for. This is not paid advertising. We just
that's
like
right.
It.
Oh, there we go.
All right, so you got the there it is. There's the watermelon, which looks painful.
Come on, dumbass thing.
Okay, rolled
now,
out
will
a
I
watermelon.
Get sound? Will I get sound passed through? I probably have the sound set to nothing.
Okay, well, I could always play it because I could come over to Twitch here, to Twitter, and find
and get the link.
Find the link, and we'll go ahead and we will.
Knows.
Oh, there it is. So let me now. Oh, that went a little too full screen. I just wanted to fill the window. Okay, we will. Oh, it's gonna open up another window.
Going number 2.
All right, going number 2. Yes, we've now established what this is about. Not number 1, number 2. Sparky Toaster wants to know if I got 2 new arms last week. No, I only got 1, and we'll talk about that after we talk about
2 arms.
No, I did an arm transplant. I'll talk about it in a moment.
Okay. Okay. Hey, I'm looking forward to that story.
Do you like my new arm? It's no, this is not the new arm. This is the new arm. No, it's not this one either. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do that, and now we all see that, and now we're gonna hit play. Brian thought that this was amusing and tweeted it to me, and oddly enough, it came up on my phone while I was going number 2. So that was perfect.
Colace knows going number 2 can sometimes feel like you
Pinched off a porcupine, wrestled out a wrecking ball, pushed through a pineapple or two. Tried to pass an elephant, rolled out a watermelon, strained until you turned a shade of ooh.
When pooping is painful, rely on doctor-recommended Colace to soften that stool and make it easier to go. With no stimulants.
No stimulants.
Colace. For a number 2,
That's easy to do.
When it
That
means
was-
doctor recommended, that doesn't mean prescription, does it?
No, it just means that doctors recommend it. Now they're doctors of philosophy. I'm thinking, people
Could
with-
be.
could
Could
be.
be. Or veterinarians.
veterinarians.
Docalax mission. To show you nothing feels as good as a great
Are you
food.
playing that?
Docalax works with your body to relieve you overnight. Feel good.
No.
Inside and out.
What the hell's playing that?
If there's pain when you try to poo, when going sometimes feels like
I
you
closed
push
the
through a
window.
pineapple.
For some reason, my Twitter window kept playing more ads after I closed the YouTube window.
Oh, gee.
That is so.
That's funny. Technology is out to kill us, right?
It is. It really is, isn't it? So, anyways, one thing I want to do before we really go into the story is I want to change my show to be listed under just chatting rather than talk show and podcast, because that seems to get some more stragglers coming in as the show goes, and then we could send them off to a nice raid. So I need to go to my creator dashboard over here. I don't know how to get it to start like that. I don't know why it always starts on talk show and podcasts, because I can't find anywhere where I told it to do that. I need to Google this during the week. The problem is I don't actually learn how to do these things during the week.
You just kind of go for it, right?
Well, I was busy learning how to do an arm transplant during the week, which is not easy to do. I mean, it's a pretty involved process that involves a lot of skill and knowledge. And how do you know, if you know everything you need to know about doing an arm transplant, if the things that you need to know are things you would not even think to know because you don't know them?
Exactly.
And speaking of not knowing things, we have Mars in the room.
Hey, Mars.
Who? Where? What? Me?
Hey, Mars.
What?
Did you miss our
In the
ad?
butt?
No.
Did you miss
no.
our ad?
I didn't look at the ad. Let me
Pinched
look
off
at-
a porcupine,
Let
wrestled
me
out a
open an
wrecking
ad.
ball,
Let's see. What ad do I get?
rolled out a watermelon.
Well, we're actually not talking about the ad that you got, but the one we played,
We played an ad for
which was from my Twitter feed.
it was for
and you
stool
commented on
softener. Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. Did you take that, Brian?
No. I was sharing.
I didn't
Sharing
know
without
if you had
sharing too
if you had to
much.
if you had to poop a porcupine,
No,
Oh,
no.
man.
Brian was just telling me before the show he just gets the moon rocks, but that's
Yes,
yeah.
that's right.
And
And
I-
they didn't cover moon rocks.
And I just get the stick and shoves, which doesn't require any softening. That's not been a problem. It's just every now and then you gotta break it. I haven't had to do that in years.
Hey, Sparky, are you still with us?
Yeah. But by the way, Gators, you're free today. You're free.
I'm free.
Yes, you have no ad when I loaded up the Twitch.
I didn't get an ad either. So
you're free. There you
And-
go.
and I got a body wash one. What's the deal with body wash? Who gives a crap?
What
well, how
There's
else?
that poor
Wash your
guy
body,
with the.
Brian.
Brian,
Brian.
you gotta wash your
Old-
ass. What are you gonna wash your ass with if
no,
not
this
body
is
wash?
Body, not ass wash.
Well, ass is part of your body,
It is
right?
part
I
of your
mean,
body.
you lather
But-
up here, you lather up there, you get it in the crack, and then you rinse off.
That's what
right?
soap is for.
Right? That's a
You don't
body
need any
wash.
special.
Body
need
wash
any
is like
special shit
soap,
for that.
but it's in a bottle.
Body wash is basically soap.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, I use the old bar of
I'm
dial
old-fashioned
myself.
soap. Bar of soap. Get a bar of soap, man.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Now, Sparky Toaster is still here.
Oh.
He's
Hi.
not
Hey.
pinching off a porcupine. So,
Or disappointed that we might be.
that was loud.
Oh, good.
So yeah, arm transplant is what I decided to perform this week.
Wow, that's exciting.
Now, what kind of an arm would I be transplanting? I mean,
Tone arm.
yes, you got it absolutely right.
Damn it! I was gonna
I
say
think
he
I know
was-
you. I'm
I
sorry,
thought-
Mars.
I thought he was going to upgrade his Raspberry Pi with the new ARM chip.
Oh, that would be
That's a
another
good one
guess.
there, Mars. That's a good one.
That's good, but it's also wrong. But it is
Oh,
good.
Oh,
Now,
shit.
but Brian, you figured it out. It the tone arm on the
Mr.
turntable.
Oh, God, let's see. What is he going to replace?
Well, here's the thing. Now, mind you, many at this point, it's getting to be 10 years at least now. 10 years ago, a guy that both Brian and I knew gave me his turntable, and that was
Hey, that's
Is
a
that
bonus.
sales manager guy?
that sales manager guy. Yes,
Really?
That's a plus. Ding on that.
and
Free player.
yeah, it was free with an albatross included. But
Yeah, right.
You got a bird?
so to speak.
Or
Basically,
did
it was
he
one of
just
these
give you
things.
the bird?
He mentioned I ought to just give you my turntable if you convert my records for me, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
how big of a collection you have? Oh, it's not big, and
500 later, right?
It was about 500. Right? I got about halfway through it before I lost track, and then he gave up on. He got his money's worth there because he spent no money and got like half of
Did
his
you
record
give him back all the
collection
records?
on CD. No, I kept some. I sold some. He gave them to me. He gave me the records and the turntable. He wasn't going to listen to them. He didn't even have the turntable hooked up. So
Right.
that was that, and he got half his record collection.
But
on
you were
CD
living
from-
in California at the time, so it's not
Right.
like they're shipping them to
Right.
Boston, right?
Right. And I did finish the second half of the CDs. It's just that I finished them up about a month before I moved out of the state. And I gave Pete a call, who wasn't working there anymore, and said, I got about, 250 CDs here for you. He goes, I'm on another call. I'll call you back. And he didn't call me back. And so I threw out the CDs. And now, like about a year ago, he started getting bitchy on my Facebook feed when I started posting about computers. Like, well, you ought to, be spending your time converting those records for me. And it's like, dude, why am I still friends with you? But I did get. He was a nice guy.
But why? Wait a minute. So you converted them to CD? Why didn't you just put together in a
you
digital
could name them
format,
FLAC.
MP3 or
Well,
whatever?
Yeah, you could have flame off
because Pete listens to music on his car CD player.
Aha!
Keep in mind the generation we're dealing. Come
But
on,
why
Brian.
would you? But why would you throw away the CDs?
Because I didn't need them, and I kept them for like a year trying to track him down, and then
Yeah.
I gave up, and I'm like, I'm never sending these to him. And he's forgotten about them by now. And then he got snarky with me on Facebook when I rarely post on Facebook, and so I finally posted like,
Yeah.
hey, look at my cool compact vintage computer, and he's like, better yet, why don't you spend some time? And it's like, oh, you're sore about that still, are you? And,
Now, let me ask you this: do you have that stuff in digital form to create new CDs for them?
I'd have to go. I'd have to dig up a spreadsheet, look over it. Some of it I do, some of it I don't. Basically, the stuff I already had, I already gave him. So the stuff I didn't have,
Oh.
I had to dig up and track down. And
Gotcha. Okay.
I didn't actually record.
We're
in
getting the
all
full story
the
here.
records. Some
I
stuff.
should say the full background here, because
The
the
point-
real story is about how you got a new arm.
Right. So this turntable had on it. The turntable is a Luxman PD-121.
Luxman.
Yeah.
How old is that sucker?
Old enough to be a turntable.
Yeah, but they started making turntables
60s.
in the 20s.
No, this looks to be an 80s vintage, maybe 70s.
Oh, okay. So
it's-
you got this turntable
yeah.
made by whoever
Luxman.
it is.
Now-
Luxman
Now the
out of
model.
Japan, right?
Right. Well, Luxman, the model is the type of turntable that doesn't come with a tone arm. So back in the day, when you're buying this, your dealer would put together a package for you, and you had the flexibility to choose your turntable and your tone arm separately.
So
And-
who makes a turntable without? I mean, sorry, a tone arm without a
Luxman
turntable a
does.
part of it.
Plenty of companies do.
Really? I never knew that before. See, that's already something that I've learned today.
Yeah.
You got companies that make tone arms without the turntable part,
Wait.
and people make the other companies make turntables without the
Gators?
tone arm part.
Gators.
That's bizarre. That's like I'm going to go to different companies to buy pieces and parts of this car that I get to put together.
Now, some of these companies, they make both because, like, this tone arm is made by Denon. And you know,
Denon,
Denon,
right?
I called their support.
The French
and they said,
company.
I called their support number and I talked about my Denon receiver, and they said, "Oh, thank you for calling Denon support." And that's when I realized that my friend Brian, that taught me how to properly enunciate Denon, was a idiot.
I always thought it was Denon. So. So, Gators, I have a question for you.
Okay.
A record player without a tone arm, would that be a tape player without a play button?
No,
Yes.
it'd be a tape player without a head.
Without a head. Well, more accurate, yes.
And without the bracket that holds the head.
And you wouldn't need the play button because you don't have a head anyway.
I mean, it has an on button and it makes the platter spin, but you just don't have anything to drop down
You
on
know what?
it.
I consider that an easy way to make pizza.
There you go.
Yep.
So, anyways, this tone
And you
arm,
don't have to flip the crust into the air like you're an idiot.
So,
right?
so Pete had, when he bought the turntable, I guess, picked a Denon tone arm, and this is a Denon DA-307 tone arm. Now, when I got the turntable from Pete, it had a rather low end. It was either a Shure or a Pickering cartridge. It was unimpressive. And I already
Yeah,
had...
Shure and Pickering are basically consumer grade, right?
Right. And I remember I looked odd at that, and he made some type of comment like, well, I had a problem with the old cartridge, and that's, you know, what was it was I kind of inferred that it was a replacement of necessity. Like, there was a problem with this turntable, and there was a Pickering cartridge that they had for his price range, you know.
And you wanted to have a cartridge that would do quad anyway, right?
Well, I already had better and more expensive cartridges in my collection. I do, and my quad cartridge is a Signet, and that works fine on this tone arm. But my main expensive high-end stereo cartridge is an Ortofon Rondo Bronze cartridge, which was something. Yeah, it was like $1,000.
Wait,
when
you
I
had
bought
the
that.
bronze?
Yeah.
Wow. Still
Well,
to the silver.
Yeah, well, there was the Rondo. A lot of Ortofon's cartridges comes in 3 styles among the same line. So, like, there was the Rondo red, blue, and bronze. Bronze being the top of those 3. And so I figured if I'm going to get a cartridge, I'd get the top one of that type of cartridge.
Well, yeah.
You know, sure, I could go to
Oops.
the...
Hang on.
Okay. So Brian's going to check the phone here. And he missed the mute button.
Yeah, hey, how are you doing?
This should be interesting. I don't think he knows he's unmuted. So,
Candid audio.
candid audio.
Yeah, because Joyce called me yesterday. Well, she first texted and then said.
Well, you know, he is actually doing some dealing with tax information still.
Oh, maybe you
so
should
maybe
mute
we
him.
should talk over
Maybe
him.
you should mute him or talk over him. Or...
So let's see if I have a way to mute him.
I think in the chat room you can just hit mute. You can mute the person.
I probably could. In the chat room? Okay. You know what? He's out of range now. He walked away from his headset. So anyways, Mars, how about you? Have you ever done an arm transplant?
Well, I have not, but I bet you there's some screws involved. Are they hex screws or Torx or what are they?
Actually, there were tiny wood screws involved, which is odd because the base of my turntable's not wooden. But that we're getting a little ahead of ourselves now. Because here's the thing: is that this tone arm was not a good match for my Ortofon cartridge. My Ortofon cartridge is heavier than this tone arm was meant to
So
use.
it kind of flops down right on the record.
Right. Well, and Brian actually helped me with this because one time during our lunch break, Brian and I went to the hardware store and we bought a piece of copper pipe. And I sawed a bit of that pipe and wrapped it on the end here to further add more counterweight to get the proper needle pressure. So I did get the cartridge within the proper specs of needle weight, but this arm was not designed to have that much weight on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, tone arm design deals with resonances and designs and things like that. So it's not good to be using a tone arm out of its proper spec. So and also this tone arm is a little loosey goosey. Now, people online, when I've complained about this, have said, "Oh, that's part of the design of that cartridge," and I don't think it is. I think because I notice when it's resting in the tone arm rest position, it leans a little to the left, and I don't have a way to firm it up to not be leaning a little to the left, and the needle should be dead on center when you drop it into the groove. Now, it does not lean to the left so much when it's in the groove as it does in the armrest, but I'm still thinking, is it as dead center as it should be? Is it always dead center? It's got that give. I don't like it. I would never pick it, and it's badly paired to my cartridge. So for 10 years, I've been thinking to myself, I really ought to, figure out how to replace this tone arm. But every time I look into it, I get overwhelmed because it's not. It looks like it should be easy enough because my turntable has this, basically this round puck that locks into place with the slot in it, and you can, release it off from there, and that's the point where the tone arm goes in through the slot, and this just has a nut on the end of this threaded section here, so you kind of put the threaded section through the hole, tighten the nut from underneath, and do a little bit of adjusting and fine tuning, and use some measuring tools and stuff to make sure that your distance is correct and the needle drop is aligned properly with a little kind of graph paper thing that's properly measured out. There's tools for that.
Did you really make graph paper?
No. I printed. I have a printed tool for a needle alignment tool. That's something that I use on any turntable. Because when you put a cartridge on the head shell, you do have wiggle room and that should be aligned properly. So I always use a little printed tool I have to align my
Gators,
cartridge. Yeah.
Does your arms have usual counterweights on the back of them? Do you usually put extra counterweights on the back of them? So
this one I had added extra weight to it, but like I said, that was more than it should have on it, and it was out of spec.
The most ghetto counterweight I've seen is people tying fishing weights to the other side of the arm.
That works.
It works.
I
don't recommend it, but it works.
I felt like my piece of copper pipe was a little ghetto, but it wasn't the same as fishing.
Hey, as long as it was shiny, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I started. Every now and then I look online, but I never knew what I should get for a tone arm that would pair nicely with my turntable and pair nicely with my cartridge. Because that is, when you ask for advice, any idiot online can say, oh, you got to pair your equipment properly to find a good synergy. Because, a piece of equipment might be, have a certain specs, but it's no good to you if it doesn't work well with the other equipment you're using it with. You got to.
Did they use the word synergy?
I've heard many people use the word synergy.
Did you punch them? Okay, just wondering. By the way, Gators,
Yes.
pepper jack Cheez-Its are pretty good.
Ooh,
Never had them?
I will have to try them.
Yeah.
I will have to try those.
Yeah.
So I went. So this time around, I decided that's it. I got my tax refund, my income tax refund, and bought me this new tone arm.
Well, if you live in California, you get an extra $600 stimmy too.
Now, Dune is suggesting that I should get an RTX 3080 tone arm.
Hey, why would he go, Dune? Why would he do the 3080 when the 3090 and they're talking about the TI versions coming out?
Hey, they can talk about all the versions they want to. It ain't no good if there ain't no stock.
Pretty much.
Dune did a little shopping on eBay and found out that I wasn't kidding when I was like, yeah, you're gonna pay like double or triple. So
about $3,000.
Yeah,
enjoy that.
Yeah, that's okay. I dropped about $800 on a 1080 Ti, which retailed for $700 brand new 3.5 years ago.
Yeah,
so
usually Gators, before all this, you can get for $400, which sucks.
Yeah, but that still is better than dropping $3,000 on a 3080. Still better. I picked the lesser of the evils presented to me, and that was the compromise. Buy the 3-year-old video card for a little bit more than it was brand new, and be able to do what I need to do with it.
It's a good thing that you basically built your system, because they're saying the chip shortage is going to start hitting RAM and SSDs soon. So
yeah, I'm set.
CPUs,
I don't need anything for another 3 to 5 years, and I'll probably just buy a gaming laptop next time. But this was a good build, and I'm enjoying it. And I got my Beat Saber.
I say in a year upgrade your video card, a year and a half, but that's about it. Yeah.
We'll see.
May add some more RAM to it.
Maybe. Well, I mean, I could add more RAM to it, but it's another one of those things where it's like I got 64 gigs of RAM and I could bump it up to 128.
Okay, 64 is decent. You don't need to do anything higher.
64 is pretty damn decent.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, my last PC was maxed out at 32 gigs, and that was still pretty damn decent. So bumping this up to 64, is basically I've been for the past 10 years now been sitting on more RAM than I ever need, which
Gators
is
on RAM synergy right now.
Yeah, RAM synergy. I have a good RAM synergy.
Yeah.
I bought all my parts for my computer that all pair nicely with one another to get a good synergy going.
Right,
because I want Mars to punch me in the face, because he'd have to come here to do it. So
don't stop me. I have one of my shots. I don't have the other one yet, though.
Now, Sparky Toaster writing again, you don't need any more memory than your brain can handle. Now, is that Brain or Brian? Because if it's any more memory than my brain can handle, then I think I'm good with the 640K on the computer land. No kidding.
So your tone arm, Gators. How's your tone arm doing?
So, here's the thing, is anytime I have gone to the audiophile forums and I've said, I have a Luxman PD-121 turntable, I have a Rondo Bronze, Ortofon Rondo Bronze cartridge, my Denon DA307 tone arm doesn't pair nice with my cartridge and is a bit loosey-goosey. What should I do? What tone arm should I buy? I always get someone that says, well, you really need to research what goes well with those things.
Buy the Audio-Technica one.
Gee, thanks. Yeah, that is why I am here posting. Like, telling me I need to research this when I'm asking, like, where do I go to research this, or what do I need to know?
There's a reason you're going to a freaking forum to ask this. You're not asking this to say, hi, this is what I got.
Yeah. I mean, any idiot can respond to a forum thread saying, you need to do more research about that. It's like, I don't think you understand why I'm posting. I'm posting because I'm expecting that there are some people that visit this forum that know these things and can give me details I don't know yet. Tell me. I have the documentation for the turntable. It tells me how to install an arm in it, or how to remove the base to put an arm in. It doesn't tell me what arms pair with it, or what style, or what length, or what. Because I go look at arms different manufacturers make, and they have 9-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, and I know what you're thinking. The longer it is, the better it is.
No,
but it's not how long it is. It's how you no.
Wow.
Dune writing in, if that POS says outside the box or I have an opportunity, I'm flying there and smacking the crap out of him right before a throat punch. Well,
wow.
I did have to go a little outside the box to install the arm that I got. But it was a real opportunity to learn. And, I got that synergy going.
Gators, I just want to see Dude do a throat punch. I'm just saying. That'd
Me
be awesome.
too. Me too. Why do you think I just did that?
Wow.
Sparky Toaster Renegade, it's not the length, it's how you wiggle it. So, I
Or spin
realized...
it, as we learned last week.
So, I actually have another tangent we can get lost on here. Because as I was trying to weigh my options, and as I found people online that would say things like, well, you really should find a better cartridge to use with the Denon tone arm. It's like, dude, it's all loosey-goosey and wiggly, and I have a $1,000 Ortofon cartridge that I really want to use.
Can you shove some, tissue paper or something in there?
Okay, I'm going to fly out there and throw... No, kidding. Dune Redigan, boom, wiggle, wiggle.
Ew.
So, I remembered back a while ago, one of the reasons I bought the Ortofon Rondo Bronze cartridge was because I had an Ortofon MCA76 head amp, which is a amplifier. It's basically a preamp because a magnetic cartridge on a turntable requires a preamp to bring it up to line level. But a moving coil cartridge is quieter than a moving magnet cartridge. So it requires a preamplifier to bring it up to the level of a preamplifier. So there actually are step-up transformers or preamplifiers, sometimes called a head amplifier, that you would use before a preamp that you'd use before your line level into your main amplifier.
I'm sure Macintosh will sell you that.
They will. Now, you also can get preamplifiers that have both inputs for moving magnet and moving coil cartridges. So the pre and the pre are built into one unit. But that was not always the case. When moving coils were out and people were upgrading the cartridges, but they already had a preamp that they liked, they'd buy a preamp to plug into the preamp, which is plugged into the amp. So, yeah, it sounds silly, the concept of a preamp to plug into your preamp that plugs into the amp, but it's totally a thing. And I bought this Ortofon MCA76 preamp because it had a button for quad mode. And I thought...
Of course!
And when I saw it, I said, well, I threw a low bid in on for it, and I won. And then I was like, well, I got to get a cartridge that pairs nicely with this. And so I figured, well, what would pair with an Ortofon preamp? An Ortofon moving coil cartridge. And so when I got my, bonus that year, I bought myself a nice $1,000 Ortofon Rondo Bronze cartridge to use with my Ortofon MCA76 preamp. Now, I know what you're all thinking out there. Dude, Gators, there's like a 30-year difference between those two products. The Ortofon Rondo Bronze outputs at 0.5 millivolt, whereas that preamp is only meant to get something in that's under a 0.1 millivolt output. Why in the hell would you try to pair those two pieces of equipment?
That was my question, Gators. I mean, I was.
Right. Now, why do I know that now? I know that now because when they didn't pair nicely, I emailed Ortofon asking them why I was running into problems, and they're the ones that told me that. And I was impressed with their quick response, their politeness, and their details and specifications.
So, Gators, I have a question. Why
Yes.
don't you email Ortofon and ask them what toner arm would go well with that, with that turntable and your Ortofon needle thing cartridge?
I'm sorry, I was reading Dune's comment. What did you say? Yeah,
I said, why don't you email Ortofon and ask what turntable you should would be
What tone arm? Yes.
What tone arm would be great with that turntable and that cartridge?
That is a brilliant suggestion. That is the reason I told this story. Because I then thought to myself, oh my God, you know who helped me out all those years ago? Ortofon Support helped me out all
Are they
those
still
years
around?
ago. Oh yeah, they're still around.
Oh, good.
So Dune's writing in, where does ceramic and magnetic come into play? Or am I just really old? No, when I say moving magnet, that's magnetic. Ceramic is crap, and moving coil is what comes beyond moving magnet. So yes, Dune, you are on the right topic there. That's exactly the concepts I'm talking about. that
What
a
about
pre
porcelain?
porcelain. No, that was in the attic.
Oh,
We
okay.
got rid of that. The old hob and tube was porcelain.
Oh, what's the porcelain? I have a porcelain thing in the room over there too, so you know.
Yeah, that's where I put my watermelon, but
Oh
and my
my God.
porcupines and,
Oh my
and the wrecking ball and a few pineapples.
You know what? I'm sure you had some of that when you were on the Atkins. I'm sure you had a couple of those.
Not if you do it right. But anyways, so I emailed Ortofon support, and they said, well, a common upgrade, a common desirable upgrade for the Luxman PD121 turntable is an SME 3009 tone arm, which also would pair nicely with our Ortofon Rondo Bronze cartridge.
Does that mean it's $3,009?
No, actually, I found one for $700, but vinyl's expensive.
You know what? I just get you a copper pipe and chuck it on there.
I did that for 10 years. I was ready to drop the money into this that was required. It was time to get this up to.
You know what?
I dropped a.
Dune could build you something with PVC and fishing weights.
I mean, look, at 15 years ago, I dropped $1,000 on a cartridge. 10 years ago, I devoted hours of my time to get this turntable, and I didn't have the synergy. It wasn't performing to its potential. I'm ready to take that step and get there. And if it's going to cost me another $700 to do it, by God, I'm putting the $700 in it. You know?
Okay. Is that turntable worth it? Actually, is it that good?
You know, it's a decent, solid mid-range turntable, mid-high.
So the next thing is in 10 years, what turntable will go great with this 3009 tone arm and this bronze cartridge? What turntable should I buy?
No, it's not quite. Now, Dune is going mother effer.
Dude, do not tell me you couldn't build
Dune,
something with
Dune.
some PVC and some.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay, Dune. One question: what's the most you ever spent on a gun?
$35 because he has another gun to help out.
Just answer me that question. What's the most you've spent on a gun? And I'll go mother effer, and then we'll both be in the same place. Because, you know, what seems ridiculous to you seems reasonable to me, and vice versa. We all have our hobbies. It keeps me off the streets, you know? I mean, it's...
I don't know. It depends on what gun you buy. You might be on the streets.
But anyways, no. When I ask questions about this turntable, I get responses along the lines of, it's a decent turntable, it's worth fixing up. You know, if I had that turntable, I'd want to fix it up and get it working.
Yeah.
It's not top of the line, but it's a decent turntable. It'll do some good stuff, you know. Now Dune points out that was for the synergy comment. Oh, I thought he was joking.
See.
But I thought I was like, I thought it was the price tag. And Dune buys cases.
Of guns? What?
Yeah, he buys the 24 guns to a case, right?
Yeah. You know what? There you go.
Or do they have 30 packs? Sparky writes in, everyone needs a hobby. Don't bring a turntable to a gunfight, Johnny.
Paul!
Look, my bad. I thought that Dune was balking at how much I dropped into a tone arm, which would have been a reasonable response that I would have expected, and I was just like, you know, I wasn't. Anyways, yeah, but no, I wouldn't bring a turntable to a gunfight, but I wouldn't bring a gun to a dance party. So, you know.
Yes, don't do that.
Don't do that. That's not. You're not going to be the most popular person on the dance floor.
Turn on Do Not Disturb. Sorry.
Turning Do Not Disturb on.
Thank you.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well,
Anyways.
Someone's text messaging me, and it will read every text message to everybody on the internet. So
Oh, that's okay.
That got turned. Yeah, it's okay because you guys want to hear my. You want to put my phone closer to the microphone?
We'll see if your texts line up with Brian's tax conversation, and it'll.
I'm not helping anybody with taxes. That's not happening. Just saying.
Sparky Reddington, you should always carry. No, I always carry my keys, because if I need to drive somewhere, they give me. And I always carry my wallet in case I need to buy something. So yeah,
Dude,
I
if you
got
have
what I
your
need.
phone, you don't need your wallet now. You just tap and go.
I'm old fashioned.
Wow, really?
I'm old fashioned. I use my credit card.
Wow, I use my credit card's on my phone. It's Google Pay. Just go tap, done. Go. In fact, I didn't have my card for like 2 years because the thing cracked and I was too lazy, so I just used my phone the whole time.
Anyways,
Okay.
So I go on eBay, I find an SME 3009 tone. I look at what they're selling for, what they've sold for, what they're being listed for. And of course you find ones that as is. It worked when I last used it 5 years ago. Got off of my dead uncle's turntable, and I think it still works. And I found one that looked in good shape, not perfect shape, but good shape. Was taken off of a working turntable. The person who was selling it was using it and is now not using it and is selling it. So I'm like,
Did it come with a
okay.
free cartridge?
No, it did not. No cartridge included, which was fine by me. It came with the like measuring tool to mount it properly, the instruction book, the head shell, 2 counterweights, and like I said, it was a buy it now 700, which looked reasonable based on what I was seeing. So bam, and it showed up on over the weekend, on Saturday. So what I was expecting was another tone arm like this that has a threaded tube. That goes through the slot on the board that comes out with a nut to tighten onto it. Being that I had seen pictures online of this tone arm mounted onto Luxon PD 121 turntables. I mean, I did research. The expert recommended this tone arm as something that was a recommended pairing with my turntable, and that would work with the cartridge. I looked online and saw pictures of my turntable with this tone arm on it. This tone arm comes with a plate with 4 screws in the corner that you use wood screws to mount it into a wooden base. The base of my turntable is, plastic underneath with a layer of like aluminum on top of it. So I was like, how am I? I'm like, how do I get this mounted onto my turntable?
Duct tape?
So I did the only logical thing I could think to do. Lay the plate out, because the plate had a hole in it that was similar to the size of the hole that was in the surface. Mm-hmm. So I could align it to the proper place easily enough. It's just that I couldn't drive wood screws into a metal plastic base. So I drilled pilot holes. And
How'd that go?
Well, I broke 3 of the 4 screws because as you gently, carefully turn them in, at some point you gently and carefully twist the head off the top of the screw when the screw decides that the pilot hole you drilled isn't
cheap ass
wide.
screws then.
Well, I went out to Lowe's and I bought 3 packs of different types of screws, and sure enough, option C worked. So through my own custom modification, I was able to drill pilot holes and get some screws to hold into those pilot holes nice and firmly and hold things in place. But I was pissed because I thought, like, this is not at all a good match for this turntable. It doesn't even go properly with the style of tone arm this was designed for. This was designed for something like this. Why wouldn't they recommend something like this for me to use on this? Well, it turns out back in the day, Luxman had manufactured other round boards that would fit into that same compartment that the other one comes out of.
Oh, so Luxman changed their
that,
tune there.
That would have pre-threaded holes built into it. So really, what Luxman's documentation should have included was extra accessories that one could buy that would include this part to alert me to the knowledge of it. Because like I said, I read through the documentation for that turntable. I went online, downloaded the service manual and the instruction manual, and it did not include that little detail. It also would have been nice if Ortofon would have said, be sure that you buy the correct, platter piece that would have the, threaded holes to accept that tone arm. No, I get it. That's on the Luxman side. Ortofon is not Luxman, but still, I didn't know that I would need to know that, because since I didn't know it, I didn't know that I didn't know it. It was an unknown.
Okay.
Dune going, did you get stainless screws? They're I got let's see.
I think you should have got the gold plated ones for some bling bling.
They are round. Let's see. Hillman. They look to be brass colored. There's no stains on them, so they're stainless now. Stainless means they currently have no stains on them, right? They're fine. Not a blue bag. Oh, we only buy screws in blue bags. I see. I will I will have to keep that in mind next time I buy screws for my turntable.
It's all by color. Rods are yellow, bags are blue.
Okay. So after I got my tone arm mounted to my turntable through custom modification with use of my drill, is when I figured out someone, because I was complaining about this on the online forums. And now, mind you, when I'm asking for details before making the purchase, no one's around that knows anything. After I make the purchase and I run into problems, people are like, well, you really should have researched this more before buying this, because, and then they list all the details I was asking for last week. It's like, ugh! Where were you a week ago? I've been looking for these details for a week now. Now you tell me. So, but that's okay. My modification worked perfectly fine, because the platter does allow the plate I put on has the slots in it that allows me to fine tune the distance the tone arm is to the turntable. So it's not like I drilled it in the wrong place or anything like that. Dune writing in red, zinc plate steel, orange, brass. Ain't nothing wrong with brass. They look shiny. Sparky writes in, they were watching a hot Asian babe on Twitch. That's where they were. I see. The Twitch stream stopped, and they're like, well, let's see what's going on in the turntable forum. Whoa, idiot used a drill on his turntable. Let's tell him he's an idiot. So once I got that done, like I said, the tone arm came with 2 different size counterweights. And I figured that was good, because I knew my cartridge was a bit heavier than an average cartridge. So there was a standard size counterweight and a big size counterweight. And I'm like, well, I'm going to need the big one. So I put the big counterweight on, and it is way too much weight. The arm flies up in the air. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's not good. So I took that weight off. I put the small weight on. It was too small. Boom, dead weight from my cartridge. I'm like, what the motherfucker? I'm like, and it looked to me like the guy included everything that originally came with this tone arm. So I'm like, I got the small weight, the big weight. I went on eBay to look up SME counterweights, and I see the same 2 size counterweights being sold separately that I already have. I didn't see a middle one. So I'm like, am I just out of luck with a cartridge that's in a no man's land that this tone arm didn't put in the right size weight for? And so I was also still, I was very frustrated at that point. It's like, damn it, Ortofon recommended this tone arm to pair with my turntable and cartridge, and I'm having trouble getting it onto the turntable, and now it's not the right weight for my cartridge. The actual fuck. So this one guy goes, "Oh, well, I think they made 3 different size counterweights for that tone arm: a 90 gram, a 110 gram, and a 130 gram. You probably need the 110 gram one." So I got my scale out, and the 2 counterweights I had were 110 gram and 180 gram. And I think what happened is that I think the tone arm originally only came with the 110 gram counterweight, and the guy who I bought this from had a really big sack of balls. No, had a really big cartridge and needed to buy the 180 gram counterweight for his cartridge. And that's why he had these 2 weights were in there that were both the wrong size for me. So what I need,
130 then.
yeah. Well, remember that piece of copper pipe that I was using on this tone arm?
Did you repurpose it?
That piece of copper pipe was 20 grams, and
Aww.
and it fit nice and snugly around the circumference of the 110 gram counterweight. So I now have my own DIY 130 gram counterweight. So I am still using this piece of copper to.
So it's like you didn't have to buy a toner arm at all.
Well, the thing is that I'm operating within the specs of this tone arm. When I put the copper on this tone arm, I was outside of the specs of this tone. This tone arm was not meant to have an extra 20 grams on the other end. It's not built for that. Whereas the tone arm I have now is built to have a 130 gram counterweight on the other end. I really just modified it into an extra accessory that I need that I didn't have. Now, I could buy a 130 gram counterweight if I want to have something on there that doesn't have a bit of copper around the edge of it. But right now, all the 130 gram counterweights for this tone arm that are available on eBay are buy it now auctions that ship from China and will get here in 4 to 6 weeks. So I didn't feel like waiting 4 to 6 weeks.
Or you could look at fishing. You could look for fishing weights that are 130 grams.
There is that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could get a nice fishing weight.
Yeah.
Now, Dune writing in, it's not Ferris. You did good. And Sparky wants to know why Brian missed MIA so much for tonight's show. Well, I do know that he's been dealing with some tax situations that has been causing him to have some questions. I'm guessing his phone call was related to that. So, which is more important than talking about pinching off porcupines.
So, Gators, I have a question. Does your pipe match the brass screws that you put for the toner arm?
Actually, they are a pretty good match.
Oh, there you go. See, you were color coordinated whether you knew it or not.
And speaking of brass pipes, we got Brian back.
Yep.
Now, was that H&R Block?
No. It's my brother.
Oh,
And the reason why I had to take it, he was in the hospital yesterday.
What?
so
Yeah.
he's
Stop
not in the
going
hospital
there.
today then.
No. Well, he went to the emergency room.
Well, tell him to stop doing that.
Well, I know.
You know that's where they have
So-
the emergencies. You know, you don't want to.
Yeah, so he had some kind of an abdominal pain,
Oh.
and it's not fully diagnosed at this point what the hell it was. It was
Wait.
ruled out a lot of stuff.
Does he need to poop a porcupine?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
roll out a watermelon.
When did
Squeeze
it
out a
do that?
pineapple or two. Tax dude on the phone. He has to hide assets. I bet reclassified expense. No, it was the brother. Hide it, dude. Everyone else does.
What? I don't have to hide anything.
Now
Everything I do
Dune.
is just under the table. That's all.
Dune suggested I should just tape a penny to it. You know,
Or two.
well, how
Oh
many?
yeah,
Well, how many
yeah,
pennies?
man.
Well, how many pennies would it take to get up to 20 grams?
Alexa, how heavy is a penny?
Here's what I found on reference.com.
Oh.
A penny weighs 0.0081 ounces.
0.0081 ounces.
1 ounce.
Well, what's that in grams?
82 pennies, or $1.82 in pennies, weigh approximately 1 pound.
All right, a
The
penny.
lightest of all U.S. coins.
A penny is 2.5 grams.
Okay, so you tend to. You need
So 8 pennies.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
So if I taped 8 pennies to my 110 gram counterweight, that would bring it up to 130.
Actually, how much is a nickel weigh? That might be a little better.
Nickel is 5 grams. So four nickels would also do the job.
Wait,
Yeah.
how much is a quarter?
A quarter of something. How much is a quarter? 25 cents. Duh.
Gators.
In grams.
It's 25 cents.
Oh my god.
I,
Yeah, 4 nickels. Just
What-
put 4 nickels on it.
my Google for how much a penny weighs also included how much a nickel weighs on the same page.
But it didn't do great. It didn't do quarters.
It didn't do quarters.
So they didn't do the full thing. It just kind of
Well-
half baked.
Well, I didn't ask it.
Okay.
No, anyways, the point is now, Brian, you actually helped me buy the copper pipe that I used to modify this arm, which I'm now using to modify that arm.
I
remember?
did.
Yeah, we on our lunch break we went to a hardware store looking for something to add more weight to my tone arm, and you came with me.
Oh,
and-
this is is this the same tone arm?
well, this is the old tone arm I bought it for. But
Oh.
the story about the new tone arm is that the new tone arm has other counterweight options that are sold separately. And I had a 110 gram counterweight and a 180 gram counterweight, but my Orderfon cartridge balances out properly with a 130 gram counterweight. And it turns out the piece of copper pipe that I was using on here weighs 20 grams and fits snugly around the 110 gram counterweight of the other tone arm. So I'm still using that piece of copper to balance out my tone arm for my cartridge, but I am within the specs of that tone arm. This tone
Cool.
arm was not meant to have an extra 20 grams on the end of here.
So, by the way, when I was talking to my brother,
Yeah.
after he got through his long story about his medical situation, which we don't really have a true understanding of it yet, but they
Right.
took a bunch of tests and stuff. He got into, I talked about, oh yeah, I'm on the show right now, so I have to get back to it, which means I have to, pull
he can
things
tune in.
along. And, well, in fact, he says, should I join you to the show?
Oh, there you go.
I says, well, why don't we do it next week?
Oh, okay.
But he did share with me, right off the top of his head, he had a bunch of arm jokes.
Oh.
So
So you told him about the tone arm.
well, that was I said, well, the theme is he's changing. What is literally.
Changing the tone arm on my turntable.
Changing arms.
Yeah.
Arm replacement. Arm replacements are a pain. I didn't actually give him the proper title, but that was the idea. And I told him about my guess, which was correct, and talked about Mars's guest about the ARM chip on his Raspberry Pi, which he really liked too, because he's into that.
Yeah.
And of course, he's a Linux guy, so he would be enjoyable on the show.
Which brother is this? Is this Bizarro Brian? Dude that looks like you but with a mustache?
No. This is the other brother that talks pretty much endlessly. Which is why the whole call took, what did it take?
So that runs through the family then.
Well, he's he really knows how to
dude ready
33 minutes to find out a little.
Dude ready in next week, the Brian and Bro interruption drinking game.
Well, see, the thing though is, drinking game. Yes, that's a good one.
Every time someone who's
if
Brian
anybody
or
wants to
related to
say
him.
anything, they'll be interrupting him.
I could do that.
So everybody would be interrupting him.
This is why you're so good at interrupting people then.
You got it.
I see. You're not the talker, you're the interrupter. There's a key difference. Your brother's the talker.
Absolutely.
He's
the big talker. Absolutely.
This explains a lot. Now, what were some of his ARM jokes he came up with?
There's I would just ruin them if I tried.
Well, that is generally how the show works. But that's
Well, the first one is statistically, a lot of people have more than the average arms.
more than the average.
Yes, because the average is less than 2 because some people don't have 2, right?
As you said that, I was thinking in my head, you're absolutely right. Most people have 2 arms, but the average of arms would have to be less than 2 because there are people with 1 or 0.
You got it.
So most people have more than the average.
More than the average.
Most people
'cause
are
when you
above
see it,
average.
like, how do you have more than 2? I always want to have
Well, it depends on
3
what
or
the
4
shot gives
would be
us.
great.
That would be.
But no, we just have an above average number.
Well, now, if a set of so if a pair of Siamese twins have 3 arms, that's 1.5 per person then, because they would count as 2 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that okay.
Would
So that's
still
not,
that would be below average. But if
I
they
was
had
trying
4,
to think of a way we could get to above. I was trying to think if we could get to a person with 3 arms or 4 arms, but the only thing I could think of is that sometimes Siamese twins have 3, maybe 4 arms, but that's still 2 individuals sharing a body. So that still doesn't bring us above 2.
and in fact, it could probably make the average less.
Yeah. Yeah, because the 3
Okay,
is
so
1.5
everybody
per person.
raise your hand or make a comment when, okay, we've gone weird.
I don't think there's anything weird about this at all.
The whole topic is weird, but yeah.
I think this would be a better topic if we were stoned. I do think this is
And
one of those.
people are probably wondering, and they're not stoned?
And
Well, I'm drinking coffee though, so that counts.
I gotta tell you, I don't know. Have you ever watched the movie The Point?
No.
Oh, it's
What would be the point of that? Oh,
well, everyone has a point.
that would be a good point.
Yeah. No, The Point was an animated, made-for-TV, I believe, movie that was about little Oblio and how he was born without a point, but everyone in the town had a point on their head, and but there was a rule in the town: everyone had to have a point, and so someone got a stick up their ass about that and got him banished, and he went off to the pointless forest or whatever, and it was about a half hour into this, and it's based off of a Harry Nilsson album, and it includes the music of Harry Nilsson incorporated into this made-for-TV animated movie. And so about a half hour into it, Gother and I were watching it because I picked up a Blu-ray of it a few months ago, and I paused it at one point and said, okay, I think it's time to get the pot out. And we got high just in time for this, like, really freaky caterpillar scene, whatever.
He's getting high in a movie, an anime movie from 1971. I don't know why that happens.
That just happens. That's just how it works.
Those are the best movies for
you
that.
You put on an animated movie from the 70s, next thing you know, you're stoned. That's just kind of how it works.
The Beatles' Yellow Submarine movie never made sense to me either, so I just...
That's when I need to watch Stone.
I always went to sleep during that. I'm like, that's boring, and I just fell asleep every time.
I mean, Cheech and Chong would be for the beginner, right?
Right.
Any
right.
Cheech and Chong movie.
Any Cheech and Chong movie. Although I got to say, a lot of them are kind of just like, what was it, Cheech and Chong's next movie? I watched that movie. I still can't tell you what the hell it was about. It seemed.
I think that's exactly what it was about.
It seemed like at some point along the way they forgot to write a plot. They wrote they did stuff. They action, camera. There was film, and they were able to cut a final product together. They just never actually put a plot together. Everything else was there. The elements were there. There were actors doing things. I think there might have been some humor every now and then, but that was now. What was it? Nice Dreams actually did have a very loose plot, which was basically an excuse to put their stage material into a movie. So that one's okay if you want to actually see Cheech and Chong live in their prime. Of course, Up in Smoke was probably the best one.
Yeah. Oh, probably. Yeah.
I mean, that's the one where they're driving the van made of marijuana.
Yeah. The pot van.
Yeah, they're driving the pot van, which has that great scene when I guess a corner had caught, and so it was letting smoke out slowly. So they get pulled over, and of course the cop gets a whiff of the pot from the corner that's lit, and instantly becomes stoned, and forgets why he pulled them over, and is totally cool with it. Now, Dune running in, was that with the Hamburger Man?
Hamburger Man, isn't that like Mayor McCheese?
Mayor McCheese? No, the Hamburger Man. Who's the Hamburger Man? What Hamburger Helper?
That's the glove.
Hand?
That's the glove guy.
That's the glove.
That's the glove. The Hamburger Helper guy.
With less than 5 fingers, right?
Right. It was a 4-fingered animated glove that was not at all creepy.
You know, you're
Right.
going to wake up one day and look down at the end of your bed and see the freaking glove coming towards you, Gators. You're going to think, oh my God.
It will strangle you.
It might. It might.
I mean, that's anything with a hand can. Like I remember for a while there was a debate on my brother and me over what would you rather have, a cat with a human face or a dog with a pair of human hands. And of course, there's the mindset of, well, the cat with the human face is just creepy. I'll take the dog with the human hands. But then the younger brother said, well, it's going to strangle you in your sleep. It's got hands. You know, it's going to kill you. It's
Well, that's a maybe on that one.
right.
But if it was a cat with human hands, definitely.
But it's the cat with the human face. So
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. You go that way. You go that way. I'm just going to walk around a small circle.
Hey, that's from History of the World Part 1.
Oh, okay. That's not Cheech and Chong, but that's
No,
still
that's History of the World Part 1.
that's still a good movie to get stoned to, though.
That's when they lit the mighty joint. Come on.
Oh, okay. See, I haven't seen that one in so long. I don't remember all the parts of
It's a
it.
great movie. Great
I need
movie.
to watch that again.
I mean, it's
Is
Mel
that-
Brooks. I mean, what else? Come
Oh,
on.
Mel Brooks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out what that was.
Yep. History of the World Part 1. If you guys haven't seen it, you should see it. It's a good movie.
Now, is there a part 2?
No. But
See,
they
'cause-
alluded to it at the end.
Huh.
They never made it, though.
That's a bummer.
So they
Yeah.
just did that as a gag.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
It's Mel
after all,
Brooks. I mean, come
you
on.
never have the first one that say, "Hey, we're a pre-sequel."
Remember, they never made Spaceballs 2, the Hunt for More Money. So, it's okay.
How do we know about that?
It says so at the very end of Spaceballs 1.
Oh, there was a. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a joke, though. The
Yeah,
hunt
that
for
was
more
a joke.
money.
The-
Yeah.
yeah, the first one.
Well, my favorite is the at the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh,
you
yeah.
go through all the credits,
Yes.
and he comes up and says, "Are you still here?" Or
It's
however he
over.
says it.
Get out.
Yeah. Go home. Go home. It's great.
You know how many people make fun of that to this day? You'll still see that going through some reference somewhere.
Hmm.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, did you like that coffee article I sent you, Sir Mars? I mean, you did comment on it, but we can have that as a side topic.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, they're not doing it right, Brian.
Yeah, I thought it was a little. Yeah, really? Are you sure?
What is
I
this
mean-
now? What are they doing with coffee?
Well, I did that on Twitter. It was talking about. This was kind of an anti-French press article,
Oh,
talking about all the
yeah.
shitty stuff that you get by doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, you get some people that will get the tea bag, they're tea drinkers, get the tea bag on the spoon, and then use the string to wrap on the spoon to squeeze out every drop out of the tea bag.
Right.
But to me, it's like, what do you want that for? That's
No.
all the bitter shit.
No, I just take that and squeeze the crap out of that thing once it's been sitting in there. Well, I also leave my tea bag in my teacup for like 20 minutes, so it's blacker than black.
I leave my tea bag in my pants.
Gators, Gators, you're not. That's TOS. You're not allowed to be teabagging.
Yes,
on
yes.
Twitch.
Terms of service dictate that I have to keep my tea bag in my pants.
Yes,
I
you
can't.
do.
I can't squeeze it with a string during the show, unfortunately.
That-
so
I don't know if you want to squeeze it with a string anyway, but to each their own.
no, I'm not into that.
No.
Not into that at all. Okay, but yeah, I was talking about, I guess, the best way to do coffee or whatever, or the filtered coffee is better.
Brian
or...
uses a Keurig, so I kind of look down on him a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah, and you're totally cool with it. I do it strictly for the convenience.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was using the Mr. Coffee machine. He goes, "What the hell is that?"
Now they do have Death Wish coffee in Keurig pods, so you could do that.
There is that.
Yeah.
Damn, I haven't bought a bag of Death Wish coffee in a number of years now. I should buy. I've been buying the San Francisco Bay or something like that.
Yeah, that's the street.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I used to get Pete's, but then Amazon sold out of Pete's, but they had plenty of other options in stock. So I was just like,
Well, you're not getting K cups. You're getting regular coffee.
I'm
right?
getting beans, and
Yeah,
I put them in my
Beans?
grind. Yeah.
Yes, same here, Brian. I get the beans.
I brew up a pot of bean juice every morning.
Now,
know,
do you ever get unroasted beans, so you have to roast them?
No.
I've done that once, and it was by accident. Okay, it didn't turn out the best because I read how you could do it on like a cookie sheet in the oven. It didn't work too well.
Yeah.
If I had an air fryer, like an air popper, it probably
Yeah.
would have worked a lot better. But I didn't have that. So
Well, there's all these new air poppers that are out.
now my
Look
sister,
like a one of those old toaster oven type of thing. In
have
fact, my
the-
brother got one, and he says, "Oh yeah, this thing's great." Blah 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 blah. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, they have the Ninja 360.
More
They have a
shit.
couple.
More shit you need on the countertop, right?
Well, it's supposed to replace some items too.
Yeah.
My sister actually used to roast coffee. She had a bunch of roasters, and she showed me about like the first and second crack, and she had a roasting room. It was kind of neat. And then I would go, I want that bag, I want that bag, I want that bag. She goes, okay, that'll be about $2,000, and I'm like, okay, I don't want that bag, I don't want that bag, I don't want that bag, and I don't want that bag.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Amazon sells the unroasted beans,
Yeah.
and they have
I might try
basically
it
it looks like a
someday.
frying pan, so it goes on the stovetop with a lid.
Yeah.
Designed specifically to roast the
Yeah,
the
I might
coffee
try it again
yourself.
someday, but I usually just buy
I,
it roasted.
Yeah.
I'm
not quite that adventurous. I'm fine, but I mean, for me, mind you, I grew up in a house where every morning my parents would put the kettle of water on to pour into their mug of the Folgers instant. With
Gators.
Well,
Isn't that
Yes.
F word part of TOS? Are you allowed to say that?
I am allowed
On
to say
Twitch?
Folgers. I mean that
No.
is that is absolutely what.
That's a horrible word. Never say that.
But you always knew it was summer when you got the empty jar with the red lid with the big white circle on it to poke some holes in to go catch the fireflies.
Well, the jars are kind of cool.
Oh.
The jars are cool. And
Yeah.
now have you seen? Now they have these big giant plastic jars with like the handle. I'm like, dude, these things are lame.
Yeah,
But-
well, I know they came with the plastic because remember, I made a comment that the Maxwell House was a little weaker than I like, so they bought the extra bold Folgers for when I visit. So that is
Extra bold
Gators, I don't know
Folgers.
if that was an upgrade, sir.
that
It's called I'm driving down to Starbucks. Bye.
I've reached a point where I'm like I don't care whatever's
By
in
the
the
way,
coffee
Starbucks
in the coffee pot I'll put in my mug and I'll drink it because
If Starbucks or Pete's would like to sponsor this show, they can. Feel free to.
Oh yes, and Folgers.
No.
One of the
We'll take their
side
money.
gags on
No, they'll
on-
probably send us items. I don't want Folgers crap. Stop
I-
it.
one of the
guess-
side gags on Schitt's Creek is coffee from the coffee pot that they have for the guests at the motel. It's hilarious.
You never take that coffee. Always take the stuff that's behind the counter for the staff.
Right.
The free coffee at banks and hotels is proof that there are worse options than Folgers.
Well, it's funny. I used to
Oh,
do-
actually, this Marriott that we would go to would use Starbucks, and that was decent.
there is a the trick is.
Of course, they
if
would
you go-
fresh brew it. So
If you're going to Jack in the Box at 11 o'clock at night, only through the drive-through, Go that late at night because that is the coffee. If you ask for coffee, that is the coffee they give the staff. That is decent stuff.
Oh, because they don't
anytime
sell
during the
that
day,
much,
Yeah.
right?
All the stuff during the day tastes like crap. Go at 11 o'clock at night and you get okay coffee.
No,
But, yeah.
now Dune writes in, do they drink coffee or is that just for company? I'm not sure. Are we talking about like the bank?
Your
The
parents.
Folgers. The Folgers.
Oh, the parents?
Yeah.
No, my parents, they do drink coffee, but they drink, well, basically my stepmother is a fan of a lighter roast or a weaker coffee. And my dad just doesn't care as long as it's hot and it's wet. The coffee. In this cup.
But Americans in general are used to this brown water mud stuff.
Right.
That's why we get the
So-
we get the bum rush about coffee.
The thing is, for me, it wasn't about the fact that it was a weak or a light roast. I if you give me a good breakfast roast, I mean, yeah, I prefer.
Yeah.
I prefer a French roast. I prefer a good strong cup of coffee that I could, I want the taste of my coffee to, grab me by the shirt, pull me up out of the bed and smack me across the face, because that's how you wake up.
Throw you to the floor.
Yeah, I want to know I'm drinking coffee when I drink
Ceiling.
coffee.
To the ceiling, right?
I
you're
like
off when the cup of coffee sends you to the ceiling.
some people like a hint of something, like you sprinkle a little bit of salt on your fries. Whereas me, I don't want to be asking the question, is there salt in these fries? I want the salt to grab me and punch me in the face just to let me know, yes, these fries are salted. I'm not a subtle person. Bam.
So
hit me with the
had
bold
fish,
flavor.
You had fish from the salted fish from the barrel, right?
Well, if I have fish, I want it covered in tartar sauce.
There you go.
So you're more of a fish stick person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deep
It was actually
fried,
kind of funny in grade
covered
school.
in tartar sauce.
In grade school, we would get fish sticks on Friday
Uh-huh.
because all the Catholic kids went to Catholic school.
Right.
So that didn't ever make any sense.
We had
right?
the little square pizza Fridays. That's what we had. It was Pizza Square Friday.
Yeah, that's what we
Oh.
had when I went to the public school. Actually,
So you
rectangle.
guys actually didn't have Catholics, and they acknowledged it because they didn't serve you fish. Whereas my school,
Well-
they pretended like there were still Catholics in the public school.
Well, pizza
they
is
serve
also a traditional Catholic Friday meal.
Say
you
again?
know.
Yeah,
What is it?
I approve of that
Pizza.
tradition. Yeah.
Pizza totally is. Well, traditional in my house, anyways. My mom was not a fan of fish. She was not going to be cooking us fish. And Friday
Was this a meatless pizza?
yeah, during Lent, we never got any meat toppings on our pizza. We just bring home extra cheese. My dad might
That's
get mushrooms
sad.
on his.
Right, which you would pick off and whine about it.
Yeah, no. Well, what pissed me off is when he would get, half sausage, half mushroom, because I like the sausage, but on my pizza, and there'd always be a mushroom or two that would kind of go. It's like,
So see, here's the solution to that: is that you steal the sausage off of his pieces and put mushrooms from your side on it.
I didn't want to be picking anything. I just wanted a safe piece of pizza that didn't have the risk of some fungus growing out of it.
Right. But the mushrooms the fungus is cooked, so it ain't growing nothing.
It's still fungus.
I know.
I mean, it's the type of stuff that grows on my feet. I don't need that. That is not food. Dune pointing out that what I was referring to was regular fries. And let's see, what was Johnny saying about French? These two are not French, but they are still doing it right. And so I guess we got to click this link now.
Okay.
I don't
Does it
know.
work?
They're not French. I think that's Asian, and there are two of them.
allowed to be shown on Twitch?
Well, they are wearing clothes, but I'm just to be on the safe side. I'm just gonna not screen share, but I
Okay.
That's
approve.
for Gator's own private viewing.
I
Just like Mittens. For Gator's own private viewing.
mittens? No, mittens. Oh God, are you referring to the
Yes,
time?
I am.
Oh my God, I leave it to Mars to go for the fisting reference.
Hey, I didn't say what it was, did I? Did I say what it was? I did not lead or say a single word. I just said mittens. That's all I said.
That was a great. No, but I immediately
And everybody else thought it had to do with that Bernie Sanders image that was going around after the inauguration. I definitely want a pair of those.
Those are nice.
Not
mittens.
for what you would use them for, though.
Oh my God.
I'd use mittens to keep my hands warm. I would not. No, but no. Well, it was one of those times that I did a show with Addy. I think we were actually he was actually filling in on a Sunday, and Addy, trying to shock me, sends me a link to basically a situation in which a guy had two girls and both his hands were covered. And my wife walks into the room just as I bring up this picture, and there was because sometimes a picture is a still frame from a video, the facial expressions were a little funny, especially considering the act that was happening, and so she just bursts out laughing. Which was great because Addy was like, "Is that your wife laughing in the background? I hear." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks for the fisting picture." And
Oh my God. See, I didn't even mention that. I would not mention that. I just said mittens. That's all I said.
yeah, it was like a pair of mittens.
Have you been
Yeah.
watching Colbert lately?
I do. I don't watch it every night. But
Yeah, but I mean in general, because he's still
I've not
out
been
of his
that good
house.
at catching it lately.
Yeah, he's still out of his house, and the only audience member is his wife giggling in the background.
Oh yeah, no, it's been great.
Yeah.
Dune going that he had no issue with mittens. Oh, I don't think he knows the picture. We might have to find this picture again for Dune. It was the tail that made me cringe.
The tail.
I it's just a butt plug with a tail on the end of it. What's
I don't want to see that.
I'm not into that myself, but it's kind of cute to be honest. I mean, it's furry. It not that I'm into it, but
It sounds a little creepy.
I mean, if someone wants to have a tail, that is a way to accomplish that. There's worse things online.
Sure.
Anyways, where were we? Colbert has his wife with. Yeah, she's been there when he
Yeah.
was doing it from home. She was there,
And
and now she's
still
there
is.
doing it in the office. Yeah. No, I think Colbert's been killing it, doing the whole no audience late night
Although
show.
there are sometimes you kind of go, I think our show is better than his show.
What?
Well, he gets better guests though.
He gets better pay.
That's it. But because we're still trying to get Bill Gates.
Yeah, we are, and I think he's actually gotten Bill Gates as
Absolutely.
a guest on his show
Absolutely.
multiple times. Yeah.
Eating us again. Oh, Colbert. Why didn't you tweet Colbert and tell him to come on the show too?
You know what?
That's a really good idea.
That's a
See?
good idea. We should. You know what? Why don't we tweet him right now? All right. We would like to invite
You might watch that. He actually might show up.
Stephen at home to be a guest on our show. Insert title here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Twitch.tv/Johnny Gators.
You get him on
Hashtag,
your show. I'm gonna laugh.
hashtag diaper play optional. No, kidding.
You know he might show up for that too. You don't know.
You could and say and PM us if you want to know more information.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. We'll see what we get. Dune writing in. Who was that? They were listeners, I think. I don't know Who was what?
Who?
I don't know.
Who was
Uh,
who?
I'm not sure who the listeners are. Oh, what, the tail? Oh, that was what was his name? He was you know what? I know his real name, and I also know he didn't want us to use his real name. So I'm trying to think what his.
So it was Neil.
Neil.
Yeah, his first name was Chris, and I'm trying to think what his name was that he used on the show. But that's right, because it was him and Wolfie Girl, and they called into the show one week because they had their website and they had their
Do you
their
have a Twitch?
they had the drawers with all the toys in there, and there was the but I forget what his like username was that he communicated with us as.
They're probably on Twitch.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They were doing a website. Actually, let's see if the
Or they might be on CB. You never know.
let's see. This is what we're wolfiegirl.com, which they did a soft launch of back in 2017. Let's see if the website's still active.
It probably is.
Let's
They're
see.
they're probably either on something or something else.
Well, no, Wolfie Girl redirects me to peachoidmediagroup.com/archive projects. Let's see. You have reached this page while trying to visit a site that was formerly owned or managed by Peachoid Media Group, its owner, or by a core member. The site you are attempting to reach is no longer maintained and is permanently offline.
But there's archives.
So there is no Wolfie Girl anymore. Oh well.
Is the domain for sale?
No, it doesn't appear to be for sale.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times they're just taken over by somebody else.
But I think that guy was like also involved at Wild Bunch in maintaining their website, and
there you
and at some point he had made known to people either on the mail group or on a show or whatever that I think he called into a show and was talking about how he had made he was a handy type of guy when it came to building stuff, and he built a pole for dancing, like, big solid wooden base and the pole coming up secured firmly to it. Not your spring-loaded pole that is wedged between the floor and the ceiling that collapses as you're twirling around it, making for hilarious fail videos. No, this was something with a solid base that he built, and then he put a Craigslist ad, built a pole, come and use it, and sure enough, people showed up to use the pole, and I think some playing would take place.
I hope he sprayed that thing down a couple times after.
I'm sure they were safe with their playing, but there was some other interesting pictures that he shared, and I think I was mentioning that when Dune's like, whoa, I want to hear more about this, and that's when we found out that he was with Wolfie Girl at the time, and they were working on putting that website together, and so he was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to promote it, and the two of them came on and started promoting their site and their streaming and their videos and all that they were doing, which was really interesting because I've never really, as much as I've done my own personal field research when it comes to adult material online, I've never really taken a serious look at people that are trying to go out there and DIY to build a site like that. So that was really interesting. Also, it seems it wasn't successful long term. I'd imagine the competition is fierce to actually turn a profit with something like that, especially when I can go find a million things similar for free.
Well, and that's the thing. There's a lot.
You have
of
to get
stuff
someone
that's
that's really into you and what you're doing. That will stick
and
with you.
That's the same thing with a YouTube channel. Of course, YouTube make it more difficult for anybody to make any money at it.
Right.
Because you got to get a lot of followers together before you get paid anything.
Like, I remember there was and the thing is that even if you do get fans that like your material, A lot
Yeah.
of times people that like that type of material also will be on sharing groups so that they can trade videos with other people. And so then
Yeah.
your stuff gets out in the wild and can be had for free real easily. Like there was a while ago, there was a couple that I knew about that had made a name for themselves because I believe they were a married couple, and the wife was really good at deep throating, and she kind of made a name for herself for.
So
their,
was this a political thing that she was doing with this deep throating?
No, she was.
You know, catching Richard Nixon or
No, she
Never
was
mind.
taking his complete cock in her mouth all the way down to the deep throating. You're
the original
familiar.
deep, the
you-
original,
You've heard of deep throating as a sex act, right?
of course.
Right. So they made a name. I guess she had gotten good at that, and this couple decided they did want to make their own videos to sell online and try to and she got a following based on revolving around deep throating with her videos. And I mean that was something that because she built up a following that liked her videos and the way she did that. Of course, if I go and I throw deep throating onto a Bing video search right now, I'll find 20,000 different videos of deep throating. So it was
Right.
interesting that she was able to make that stick out and stand out. But then again, I think that was like late 90s, early 2000s that I remember
Right.
running across her videos. Not to mention I found her videos for free. So I
Yeah.
I don't know where she is
No
now.
need to pay for that. Oh shoot.
Anyways, yeah. So there are the people that do pull it off to sell their own private videos online for profit. I just don't know how long term it works out. But that's not really the top. We've gone from arms to deep throating somehow.
And they're not related at all.
No, they're not really. You can't deep throat an arm.
Oh, and by the way, my brother also did a quick search for changing the ARM chip on your Raspberry Pi.
Oh, okay.
It's cheaper
And,
just to
you know,
buy
so
another
you need to
Raspberry
find
Pi,
out
honestly, but
Who? Say that again?
it's cheaper just to buy another Pi, honestly. But
Of course, of course.
Where's
We
the
said
fun
that.
in that?
But,
There's no sport
yeah,
in that.
can you buy an ARM chip?
Oh,
Of
yeah,
course,
you
the
can.
thing is that they're not in a socket, so maybe you'd have to desolder the ARM chip that's
Yep.
on there,
yeah.
which would be difficult since it's a two-sided board, right?
Right.
You could do it.
And probably install a socket, or maybe you build your own Raspberry Pi and see if you can do it cheaper.
Or I just go on whatever and hit the buy a new Raspberry Pi button.
Oh, where's the sport in that?
Yeah. Do you want me to try soldering gators? I tried soldering it. Right now, I would have very burky fingers.
Well, I
Before,
mean-
when I was able to see, I could solder a little bit, but
Well-
not a chip.
Well, Mars, these chips are so tiny that you could probably see the solder contacts almost as good as I could see the solder contacts if I
As
tried to solder
anybody,
this.
yeah.
You know what? I will throw that chip. Throw that chip into a fire, and the board into a fire, and then when I pull it out, the chip will not be on there anymore. How's that?
So that is an option. Now, I did make another musical purchase this past week. My pre-order of John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band album Ultra Deluxe box set came in.
Wait, the Ultra Deluxe box?
Yeah, it comes with a big ass book,
Okay.
and it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 CDs and 2 Blu-ray discs.
Oh, because you want higher fi than the CD on that one.
Well, the Blu-ray includes Blu-ray includes high-res a lot of the material that's on the CDs, but it also includes a Dolby Atmos remix of the whole album.
Oh boy!
But
We need that in Dolby Atmos, Gators. We really do.
we do need that Dolby Atmos. I mean, it's a John Lennon album in Dolby Atmos. You can't really, turn that down.
I just saw a tweet earlier today, kind of disparaging the music that the Plastic Ono Band was able to play.
Well, there was another Plastic Ono Band album that was released around the same time. But do you remember when that album came out, Brian?
No,
'Cause you
no,
would've been around
I really never
1970.
followed them.
You never. Well, you followed the Beatles, right?
Well, I mean, I didn't follow how the band went, and particularly after John Lennon was gone.
Well,
I mean,
no, but after
To
the
me, it was about John Lennon and his post Beatles work.
Right. But this was like his first major post-Beatles work, so it was kind of a big deal. Beatles just split up, and this is John Lennon's next move. But you were kind of like, man, I don't care what John Lennon's doing.
No. After John Lennon, I didn't care what he was doing, and it was about John Lennon rather than the band, right? I mean, who cares about Wings, right? You care about Paul McCartney.
Okay. Well, the point
I
is,
like Wings.
but you did care
Yeah,
about,
especially with a good hot sauce, right?
yeah. But you did care about what John Lennon was doing then, and so you.
Yeah.
So this was his first post Beatles solo album, pretty much, which
Yeah.
the band he was playing with, he was calling Plastic Ono. So you didn't care for the album?
No. I didn't follow what the band itself was doing.
Well, this is
It
what
was all
John
about
Lennon
Paul
was.
McCartney,
Yeah.
what he was writing,
You know-
what he was singing,
Well,
what he was doing.
this is following
yeah,
what
he
John-
had a band that was with him.
But did you follow what John Lennon was doing?
Of course I did, yeah.
Okay, well, what he was doing was releasing this album, and did you follow that when he released the album in 1970?
I don't remember the specific album.
Okay, all right, okay. It was just weird the way you were putting that. That's what was throwing me off.
Well, you were taking it weird. Yes.
Let's just say everything I know about John Lennon after the Beatles, I learned from Gators. What does that mean?
So, what have you learned from me about John Lennon post Beatles?
That's what I learned.
Well, it is interesting because when they were recording this album, they would do a lot of jamming in between, and things like that, and sometimes Yoko liked to join in on the jam
and then
sessions.
there was something about her in a tree. Remember the one with her in the tree falling? I remember that too.
Well, the thing is that since those jam sessions that resulted in those Yoko tracks that would be on the B-side of the singles and the Yoko album that was released at the same time, those jams in their entirety are included on this box.
Hey, there you go. You have
so-
that high res now, Gators?
And 192 kilohertz 24-bit. Yes.
Wow, you get all the fidelity. Look
Yes,
at that.
you get all 16 minutes of this jam session that was then turned into a 4.5 minute B-side.
Now, is she all around you and above you at the same time, Gators?
No, the bonus tracks don't get surround mixes,
No.
so she's just in front of you. She's not going to sneak up from behind.
That would be hilarious. Oh my God, she's behind.
But I gotta say, putting that content into this context makes it a little easier to appreciate it a bit more, because now you really have John Lennon and the guys he's playing with, which you got Ringo on the drums here, in the studio jamming, and some crazy woman decides to come in and take an open mic. But it's still it's a jam session.
And
it's
in all
interesting.
honesty, some of these jam sessions are really good. I've heard a little bit in the last couple days, but just from YouTube. But
Yeah.
they're pretty good.
There are plenty of jam
Yeah.
sessions on this set that don't include Yoko as well.
Yeah. And even with Yoko in there, some is tastefully done. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, you kind of here you're just kind of jamming out, and they end up building up into this groove, and it is interesting. Here's where she kind of comes in and does it. And she was actually doing this specific style. They were doing this like primal rage scream therapy type of thing. And keep in mind, John Lennon, he was also screaming some on his material. So it's, like he did some screaming at the end of Cold Turkey. He pretty much damn near blew out his throat screaming the last lines of the song Mother. So it's not like there's no such thing as screaming on record.
Were they on something at the time, you think?
Oh, I'm sure. And also, granted, I'm not saying I'm a fan of this. I'm not a big fan of some of the screeching wailing she gets into. But I can at least appreciate it. I mean, it's just part of the jam.
Okay.
And I gotta say, I do think that this material makes more sense within the context of the jam than the edited.
When you're high.
Well, that too. But like, for example, this made sense. We listened to them kind of warming up, getting into a groove, and she starts screaming. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense is buying a hit record from a record store, enjoying the hit, turning it over to the other side to see what they put on the other side, and being assaulted with this out of nowhere. I mean, it's just out of nowhere, just bam, right into it. and I mean, that is jarring, and maybe that's the effect they were going for, but it's interesting to hear the jam that builds up to that point. Is what I wanted to kind of come with. So that was interesting. Of course, the John Lennon material and the Dolby Atmos mix is far more enjoyable than
I'm sure that's actually
Yoko
really
sessions.
Yeah.
But you know they've thrown in everything plus the kitchen sink when you also have the Yoko jam sessions on here. So it's an interesting set.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Definitely cool. So that's like a pretty good purchase.
Yeah.
Was the box pretty big?
I've had bigger, but it's a decent sized box. Like I said, it's got a pretty hefty book in there, and 6 CDs and 2 Blu-rays. And I think most of the content that's on the CDs is also on the Blu-rays. But like the Yoko jams are only on the Blu-ray. They didn't put a CD in with the Yoko jams. So So
I just sent you a link where you can get an arm.
Ah. Cool.
We can share that, and I shared it on the
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah. All right. I'll. Well, I mean, chat's the best way to click on it. I did bring it up on the screen, but you can't click it from the screen.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, no, that's an ARM chip for $26, and it's in stock.
Hot damn.
Yeah. And
actually, if you scroll over, you can see that. Oh, they have a number of chips that you can get.
No, I don't want to order 8 of them. Stop it.
No, you
Hey,
want
wouldn't
10.
8 arms be great?
Yeah, I'll be an octo.
You'd be an octopi.
Yeah. And wouldn't that look funny on a turntable?
That would. That's way too. Actually, there are turntables that will have like multiple mount points for multiple tone arms, because there are people that really do get nuts into those types of things. Like, well, this arm is better paired for this cartridge, which has a tighter bass and it's good for this type of music. And I like this cartridge with this arm for that type of music.
Hey,
and so,
that would be convenient, actually.
But can you play them at the same time?
well, you probably could, but you wouldn't. I mean, because each arm's got its own set of wires coming out of it, so
Sure.
you'd have to. You're probably plugging them into separate inputs on a switch box, or separate inputs on
Or
your
you
amp.
pull them all into a mixer.
But if you put them all into a mixer, or if you put them all into multiple channels and a multi-channel setup,
And that's how you do Atmos,
you
right?
could then play them all at the same time, but then there'd be a delay on all of them. It'd be an
you
interesting
you
effect.
put a delay between each one, and so you can adjust them so that you can get the timing right.
Oh, so we're seeing how ridiculous we can get with this idea.
Of course.
But no,
But then again, you are on the bleeding edge of music recording.
I haven't been anywhere near a recording studio in years.
I know, isn't that a shame?
I'm not on the bleeding edge of anything. I'm on the bleeding edge of you know, the finest.
The question is would your experience in music recording from school be essentially considered obsolete at this point?
I think it's a way to get into what's going on now.
Here's the thing. I mean,
necessary.
Some of what I learned might be obsolete, but I didn't learn how to do things one specific way.
Yeah.
I learned concepts and how to apply them to the technology of the time. So,
right, but like with computer programmers, if you don't have the exact skills that they want, even though, hey, I can learn these variations and I can learn the new equipment, it can get hard to cross that barrier.
See, that's the thing, is that it's not that my knowledge is obsolete. It's that I don't have a resume with anything that I've built on it as far as it goes in the audio industry. So,
right.
But if I was working in the industry, having those jobs on the resume right there says, well, you've continued to do this and you've kept up with what you're doing.
Right. Well, exactly.
Not that I haven't kept up. I've always kept up with what's going on with things.
But not with anything that, let's just say, anything that counts.
Well,
right?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, one of the real basic concepts that you need to know walking into a studio is that of signal flow. And it don't matter how much technology changes, you're still going to have a signal that's going to flow. And it's just different equipment it's going to flow through. So, you know, the basic concept of signal flow.
If your signal's not flowing, you're not hearing anything.
Right. I mean, sound has to get from your instrument onto a medium that's capturing it. And you got to be able to route that path out in your head throughout everything to, you know, it's going into a microphone, that cable's going to that patch bay.
Just like getting the proper cup of coffee.
Right. And that never changes either. You know.
Well, until Starbucks comes along.
Well, it depends. You know, whatever the studio has, you make sure that there's always a fresh pot on the machine.
So, like Coca-Cola Company decided, you know, during World War II, as a soldier goes onto the troop ship to head to the battlefield or to war, they gave him a free bottle of Coke.
Okay.
When they returned from duty, and they got off the ship,
for CRV?
the Red Cross charged people for a lousy cup of coffee.
Ooh.
Which gave them a bad name that is still around today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And their claim is, oh, well, they weren't allowed to just give it away. Oh, let's see, you're a nonprofit, you're not allowed to give something away? Coca-Cola Company was always been for profit, and they gave something away because rules are different between corporations that have the influence versus nonprofit which don't have the influence.
I mean, the point is that the principles I learned in college in the late 90s, early 2000s are still relevant today.
Yeah, actually, the principles and theories are definitely relevant, Brian.
Right.
It's just how the technology goes.
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, a mixing board.
And as long as your employer will agree with what you just said.
Signal flow is signal flow. Mixing board's a mixing board. And I mean, really, if you want to make it in the industry, having an education in that will get your foot in the door. But from there, you gotta make a name for yourself. You gotta, you know, be there working for nothing or for barely nothing in a studio, being a gopher and taking advantage of what opportunities present themselves.
I mean, after all, you have to learn what gaffer tape is, right?
Who does not know what a gaffy tape is?
Well, that's why they start you at the beginning, to make sure you know.
But the point is, your education is going to get you a foot in the door. A foot in the door is going to give you an opportunity to maybe help out on a session as opportunity presents itself. That gives you opportunities to get people to take notice, and then when something else opens up, to work up. You really gotta. It is a very cutthroat and difficult industry to make a name for yourself and work your way up in.
Yeah.
And so that has very little to do with what you learned when you were in school, and more to do with what you're doing today.
You learned about how to do this. I learned about how the industry works after you got out of college, right?
No, I learned how the industry works in college too. I just would have in college we had classes that were based on industry and business end of things, in addition to the technology based things, in addition to the music based things. I mean, It was a very well rounded program.
But you learned that it was a cutthroat business as you got into that.
There was class discussion about it being a cutthroat business and how that works, and what you're going to need to do if you're going to need to make it. But also the program was, our teacher made it clear, you're not all going to be recording engineers. There's a lot of room for a lot of different opportunities within the industry. Some of you might, be a recording engineer. Some of you might be running live sound. Some of you might, be able to, there were different things you can do when it comes to technology and the world of audio.
Which way did you want to go? Did you want to? What was your big dream?
Well, if I were to have a big dream, now mind you, it wasn't a big enough dream to seriously pursue it, but based on a lot of things, I would have loved to have been a remastering engineer or a mastering engineer.
Right. So working for a record company. Doing that.
Well, no.
Right?
Generally, mastering houses or things are contracted out to the mastering engineers don't work for the labels.
Third party.
Like for example, up in Maine, there's a guy named Bob Ludwig. You've probably heard the name, and he has his own little mastering house, and people send their, basically they're the person that they take the final mix and prepare it to be put onto a record or CD or whatever the final thing is going to be. You kind of listen to their mix, and it might be, you might need to even out the EQ so that it kind of all sounds the same, or flows nicely. You want to get that synergy. No, I'm sorry, kidding.
You said, never mind.
Well, there's the band. There's that. What was it? Larry Faust, Synergy. He released a few albums under that name of Synergy. I'm sure he has his stuff mastered. No, but mastering is basically taking the final mix and preparing it to be released, and that might mean doing a little bit of EQing. I mean, the mastering phase is where the loudness stuff sometimes happens. I want to say if you're a bad mastering engineer, that's when you make things loud, but that's not fair, because there are a lot of very good mastering engineers that are basically put in a position of, I know this is bad, I don't like this, but if I don't do this, I can't feed my
that's
family.
What they want.
Right. You got to do what the client wants. If the client wants you to, piss on their cornflakes, then, you whip it out and you piss on their cornflakes. Or you
might make it taste better.
And there are some mastering engineers that have worked up and earned a reputation that they can do it their way. It's like, if you want me to master it, I'm going to do it my way. That's what you're hiring me for. So there are those people, but that's not everyone.
You have to build that reputation up, right?
Right. And even Bob Ludwig, who's built a reputation for himself, he'll master things that sound loud if that's what the client wants. But you got someone like,
so he won't be doing In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, if you can help it.
I don't know. But I know he did do the original mastering for Metal Machine Music. But which I think the only challenge on that was the lock groove at the end of side 4. The rest of it was pretty easy. But then you got the Steve Hoffman, who's kind of built a reputation of doing it his way, and anyone that's going to hire him to master it, they want him to do it his way. And that's kind of nice to be able to work up to a point where I'm going to do it my way, or you're not going to hire me. Yeah, and to be able
Right.
to make a living doing that, but that's not. But yeah, that would have been one of the dream jobs. Would have been to deal with mastering.
But does a guy like Ludwig hire people?
He does, but it's a very long waiting list. My resume is probably sitting in a file cabinet somewhere that's going to get cleaned out and tossed out to the dumpster at some point. You know,
Well,
but-
I mean, resumes often are not looked at.
Yeah.
You know, shall we say more than once,
He-
unless
he's-
he sets it in the special one. I really want this guy, but I can't hire him at this point.
My resume did go to Ludwig. I mean, he's in the Portland area, which, mind you, was too far to commute from Lincolnville. But if Bob Ludwig called me up and wanted to hire me, I'd move closer to Portland. You know, that was.
You say no. I'm sorry. I haven't.
Well, I mean, you moved to California for Tharco, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That was
Oh.
to fulfill my dream of working for the box factory.
Right.
What?
Oh, by the way, Mars, have you driven past the Tharco plant?
I have not. I personally have not driven past the Tharco plant, but
You know, when you're out in that direction, just drive by and see what's going on.
okay.
You'll see a big for rent sign on it.
Oh, can I buy it?
No, for rent.
I can't buy it. It's only for rent.
There is a
Does-
phone number there. You could say, well, I'm only interested in buying it.
Who owns the building? Was it the family that used to
Aitchisons.
own? Oh, the
Aitchisons.
Aitchisons own the
Yeah.
building. So when they sold the business, they kept the building and charged rent.
Absolutely. That's the way things go.
I can
Big
upgrade
corporations aren't interested in buildings.
That could be
Huh.
a great apartment right there.
It could be.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's
probably
real.
a money pit for them
They-
now since it's been empty since they were shut out.
Yeah, what are they going to do with it now? That's
Well, that's why there's a for rent sign.
well, I mean,
So
for
if
many,
you need 500,000 square feet, approximately,
that
and
plant,
feel like being in Northern California,
that plant just keeps going.
near a railroad track, mind you,
Uh,
that could be just the place for you.
on the wrong side of a dead end street of the tracks. Meaning, if a train parks, you ain't going anywhere.
Well, that's not that common.
It
Oh,
happens.
I hear trains park over here all the time.
Well, now that there's not a paper a box factory getting paper deliveries periodically, it's a lot less common now.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. You don't mind the street being blocked when they're delivering to you?
I didn't mind, but the angry guy in the lobby bitching about it, he cared.
Well, what are we gonna do about it? We weren't running a
That's
railroad.
exactly that was back when. What was her name that used to be the receptionist for all those
Sandy?
years? Sandy. Yeah, Sandy was there, and this guy came in like, "I need to be somewhere. Can you do something about this? You know, this is ridiculous." And she's like,
I don't run a railroad. Sorry,
don't-
sir.
I don't control when they go. Can't you schedule your deliveries to happen after hours? It's like they come when they come.
It's a train. I can't
Yeah.
stop it. I can't push it.
In fact, does he have a clue on how complicated railroad routing is? It's unbelievable. You wonder how these companies exist, other
Yeah.
than being 1/10 of a price of a truck.
There is that.
Yeah.
And there are rules in place, like with a typical company, they get paid whenever they get paid, right?
Right.
In the transportation industry, you have so many days to get that damn thing paid, or they can legally go after you, not just with a civil suit, but you're breaking the law.
Gators, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Okay. Your box that you got for John Lennon. Did
Yeah.
it come with a mini fridge?
No, it did not come with a mini fridge.
Oh man,
There's not the Yoko Ono special edition mini fridge.
That I tell you, if there was a special edition that came with Yoko Ono trapped in a fridge, I could see that bring that would be a pretty good sale right there.
Now would they leave the locks on it or let her out? That's the
That's
question.
up to whoever buys it. What they're gonna do with the Yoko Ono in the fridge. So that's you want to leave her in there? There you go.
Wait, is it a soundproof fridge or do you just like still hear?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a soundproof fridge, but if it's oxygen proof, you don't have to worry about that for too long.
See. I think there was an episode of Punky Brewster that told us not to hide refrigerators.
I feel a little bad joking about
yeah,
people's nonchalant deaths, but that's
no.
We wish death on no one. We have mute buttons.
In the 80s, there were PSAs. Don't go inside the refrigerator.
Don't.
And I'm like, it's cold in there. Why would I do this? Thank you.
Why would I go in there? So I'm looking to see who's live right now, and if there's a good
we
music.
are.
Well, yeah, we are, but we're not gonna be. It looks like that channel's getting ready to log off. So I guess.
How do you know that?
Well, because there's just a big screen up that says "thank you," and that's it. And so,
you looked at it.
Yeah, okay. I'm looking to see who's live right now.
So I see Lyle Forever, Rachel Ray.
Yeah.
Echolocations.
Yeah. Well, we rated
Julie,
echolocations last week,
other.
I think. Julie go live, but she's in the just chatting. We usually try to find a music channel to raid. Eternal Blues. No, that was that looping thing. Let's see.
The only one I see is the that says music is the echolocations.
Well, there's also I think this is a
filming it. He was probably 35. 34,
oh yeah, 34.
Yeah.
Because it.
Let's see. It's Halocene, HALOCENE. But it looks like they're in the studio though.
They're chatting.
Yeah, they're chatting in between a song though, because one of them's sitting at a drum set, one of them's got a guitar, and one of them's got a microphone. Well, they all have microphones.
That sounds like the Gators. Why'd you have a setup like that? You should get a bunch of microphones and some instruments.
Well, I have a VR headset. I could do that.
Yeah.
One day, all right. VR. Let's raid that channel. Even though I'm sure our 3 raiders to their 850 listeners right now. But no, we do every little. It's all about sending someone someplace. So let's see. Oh, I don't think Mary Lou's live. Hooper or I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what Dune's talking about. Thanks for the cast tonight, Johnny. Sparky writing in. Thanks for the cast tonight, Johnny. I learned about deep throating tonight.
Oh, so I thought you've already done that.
But we also learned things tonight here. So, Brian, what have you learned tonight?
Learned about tone arms are made and sold separately from turntables. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
And you can buy arm chips.
And you can
separately from the machine.
You could buy multiple arms for the same turntable for certain turntables.
Yeah, that too.
And have them all arranged around. Yeah, some turntables have that. And Mars, what have you learned this evening?
I've learned that you can replace an arm with a copper pipe and brass screws.
There you go. And I have learned. What have I learned tonight? I learned about pinching off a porcupine. Rolling on the watermelon, doing something with a wrecking ball, and I think there were a few pineapples in there too.
God, that sounds it's not right though.
It probably, would make it easier to put the tail on though after that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna raid Halocene, HALOCENE, because it looks like they're doing some jamming. So. Let's check them out and have a good night.
All right, great. Have a great one.
And we're going in now.
Okay. Oh, Halocene.
Hello scene. A Halo scene.
There you go. Well,
There we go.
all I have
Now
to say
hit the
is,
follow button so it shows up.
All I
Yeah.
have to say is, Tiger Tails.
Tiger Tails. What? Well, I remember a box of Frosted. Oh, Mars left. All right, I can't respond to his
Oops.
Tiger Tails.
Maybe you can hit the chat on.
I'll catch you next time.
They would kind of go, "What the hell?"
All right, well, I'll catch you later.
All right, yeah, we'll see you.
Good night.
Okay. Rating.